Big names have left East Lansing along the defensive line, but a big name joining us here on the show. That's Matt Sheehan of On Spartans. Look at the hat. Look at the setup. Just top
That's
tier.
right.
Top tier stuff. That's the way we roll here at Locked On. So let's start with Derrick Harmon, Matt. He's the latest big name portal entrant. Simeon Barrow Jr. We can get to him as well. Yeah. It looks like things are thinning along that Michigan State defensive front.
Not fun, Spencer. Those were 2 hits because we're going into the season thinking, okay, we got our strength on the defense. It's that defensive line, maybe even on the whole team. We could have that debate later on, but all of a sudden overnight, in the span of a few days, both those guys are in the portal, and that is a massive blow because obviously those are 2 starters for Michigan State, 2 guys that were Big Ten honorable mention last year. But what's the real kick in the you-know-what, Spencer, is that both those guys were swimming in the portal this offseason, and Michigan State fought to keep them home. They made Derrick Harmon one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid defensive tackle, it depends who you're talking to, in the whole conference. So, okay, it's great. Took care of our boys here. Only for them to stick around for January, February, March, and most of April. And if you look at the college football calendar, not the most ideal 4 months to keep a guy around. You'd like them in the fall, but nevertheless, they're out, Spencer, so that's not fun.
No, it's certainly not what Michigan State fans want to hear. And, you know, the story you just laid out sounds a little bit like Caden Proctor. Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah. No, yeah, I'll hang around, you know, until the portal opens. But I'm not going to tell you that. Of course, I don't know all the details there. I'm just saying when you laid that out in that fashion, that's the first thing I thought of.
I can fill you in. I did like a big 10-minute rant on this on Locked On Spartans if you want the longer, emotionally charged version of this. But I'm a big benefit of the doubt guy. That might be just my biggest fault as a person. So let's say, for example, they signed on to Michigan State and their intentions were to play this season, because this is the hot gossip that we are getting in East Lansing and even nationally too, because Bud Elliott talked about this on his Cover 3 podcast, that there are teams desperate for defensive tackles. That is the highest position of need right now in the spring cycle. So Michigan State throws a bunch of money at Barrow and Harmon. They're probably content just to be at Michigan State, but these other heavy hitter schools are paying upwards of 50% raises on top of what Michigan State has given them. I'm sorry, like, we're not talking small potatoes here. We're not talking about like a $15,000 raise or anything like that. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars on top of what MSU is paying them. Being offered by other schools is the hot rumor. Of course they're going to pick up the phone. Of course they're going to say, well, I'd be an idiot not to take this because we're talking like borderline middle tier draft pick NFL money right now. Like it is bananas what other schools are offering to pay. Michigan State on their end, they're looking at this being like, well, yeah, we like these players, but at the same time, only all Big Ten honorable mention is what you've topped out at. We're not going to pay you like you're an Aaron Donald, for example, right now. So go, because we can find someone that is not as good as you, but softens the blow for less than the money than we're already paying you. So it's a thing where I can't really blame Michigan State. They're topped out of money. I certainly can't blame these players because this is crazy money that's being thrown their way if the reports and rumors are correct. So it's to throw your hands up in the air and just say, chalk it up to the game. Like, it's nasty out there. Michigan State, not to say that they're a poor NIL school, because believe me, they took of Aiden Chiles. They've taken care of other positions on their team. But eventually, you can't hang with those tier 1 teams that are ready to spend stupid money on players that are just good, not great. So I said I wasn't going to rant before this, but there I was right there, just burning up clock. I'm sorry, Spencer.
We're not bringing you on for a lack of emotion here. I mean, that's right. Of course the entire point. You got to tell it like it is. So is the reality for Michigan State now that this went from being a strength to it's an outright weakness? Like, how does this change their outlook for 2024?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bona fide weakness, but it is definitely not a strength anymore. Like, we got Daquan Dowse out of the portal from Georgia Tech. He's fine. Like, that helps cut what that steep decline of talent would have been right there. We have someone on from Stephen F. Austin on campus right now, Brandon Lane.
Good player.
A lot of Power 4 teams are looking at him.
I've covered him before at the FCS level doing play-by-play. That guy's a good football player.
It's not often a Stephen F. Austin guy is getting some NFL draft chatter, and granted, like a day 3 pick, but still, that's kind of what we're replacing, day 3 picks to begin with. So if you can get his commitment, that softens the blow, and it moves it up to like kind of strength. But yes, as things stand right now, if the season kicked off tomorrow on April 26th, it's just a middling factor here because, of course, you also got to worry about depth too. And Michigan State, I think, have 3 maybe 4 defensive tackles. One guy's like a tweener of defensive end that are scholarship players. We go to walk-ons right after them. So depth is also what we got to talk about right now too. So that's the other issue with those 2 guys leaving.
Yeah, and I mean, there are some high-profile names in the transfer portal along the defensive line. Dominic Williams from TCU, perhaps most notably. There was an entrant from Georgia, and then he pulled his name out of the transfer portal. That would have been a guy Michigan State could have gone after, but of course can't. You have Kieran Crawford and Philip Bleedy going over to Auburn along the defensive line. Chris Hardy is a guy from Jacksonville State who put up crazy numbers in Conference USA last year. Someone is going to pick him up. Someone's going to pick up all of these guys. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and who gets the opportunity to play him next year. But one guy who you can confidently say will don that Spartan green in 2024 is Aiden Chiles. And I think that he has got all the talent in the world. And I don't know if Michigan State is got high hopes for 2024, and Jonathan Smith's first year, the win total on FanDuel is sitting, I believe, at 4.5 right now.
Oh, is it? It was at 5.5.
Maybe it's 5.5. I could be remembering wrong. You know what? We're gonna pull it up for the sake of accuracy, just to double check. But certainly, it is not expected to be. It is 5.5. It is 5.5. So could be worse. Yeah, 4.5. That'd be pretty brutal. But you know, Aiden Chiles had his first chance to showcase what he can do to the Spartan fan base in the spring game. How'd you think he looked?
I think he looked fine. Look, I just want to give context on the spring game. I think he only threw the ball 14 times. It was a windy day in East Lansing, but then again, like what weather do you think he's going to have in Big Ten play once November rolls around? It's not going to be comfortable conditions, but 7 of 14, had a touchdown. Look, he had some good moments, of course. He used his legs at times, and then he had some moments where he tried to fit the ball in tight windows, overthrew it, but never threw the ball in danger. Like he never overthrew it to a safety that was lurking behind. So it was fine, but look, like fine for a spring game from Aiden Chiles is okay with me. All right, like I'm not going to grade his whole production on just 14 throws in the spring game, because what I take out of it is that, dang it, his floor is already way higher than what we had last year. No disrespect to the 3 or 4 quarterbacks that tried their best last year, but it's already there. Now, the benefit with Aiden Chiles is that his ceiling is also high. Can we start seeing that by the end of his sophomore season? I would be thrilled to see that. But hey, as we gear up into even 2025, that's what the eyes are going to be on, is how high can his ceiling go. So with all that said, with the defensive lineman being lost, with Aiden Chiles providing promise, 5.5 as the over-under. I got to say, Spencer, I'm still at the over right now because of that schedule. It sets up nicely in September. Don't look at October. October's
I was going to say that October stretch in the middle. They're
just big red X through that one.
There might be some body blows delivered to the fan base in East Lansing. But hey, I've seen Jonathan Smith outcoach teams that have got more talent than what he's working with before. So far be it from me to overlook what he is capable of doing. I think he succeeds in the long term, but certainly losing the 2 defensive tackles, that's a blow. It's absolutely a blow. But Chiles being there, hey, maybe a quarterback is the only thing that matters at the end of the day. And Chiles has just got immense talent. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility if he really develops this year. He could be a top 5 quarterback in the Big Ten.
I know. And like we're talking, hey, maybe he could play himself up to the first round in the 26 draft when he's eligible. So. Sorry, I'm just doing the math right here. Carry the 1, but whenever. Look, the ceiling is sky high for him. The hype is absolutely going through the roof over here in East Lansing because we are starved for good quarterback play and also just fun quarterback play. I know that's a very low bar to shoot for, but just
that's where they're at.
Hey, dual threat quarterback. We haven't had one of those in a long time in East Lansing, and we are a fan base that just saw our offense last year put up 19.6 points per game. So yes. Excuse us for being a little excited about a new offensive look here. A lot of good storylines here in East Lansing, man.
Yeah, the prospect of scoring more than 19 points a game is indeed one that Michigan State fans should hope to strive for at the very least for this
Shooting
year.
High. Shooting really high. Yeah.
We always strive to bring on Matt Sheehan when we need to know anything about the Spartans. Check him out, Locked On Spartans on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Matt, thanks as always.
No, thank you. And everyone that has a team that is somewhat involved in the portal, stay safe out there. It's nasty.
Yes, indeed.
It's nasty.
The transfer portal continues to get impact players, starting caliber guys coming to a team near you.